Hey everybody, it's what day? Tuesday, and we are doing a 30-minute supper. This is a meal that we do in our 30 minutes to dinner cooking class that we teach as part of our Milk Street classes. Be sure to look up Milk Street Cooking School, and their classes are free through the end of April. We want you back in the classroom with us when the time comes, but until then, we'd love for you to get to know Milk Street and take one of their fantastic online classes. So I am making a Iranian braised. It's a one-pot dish that comes together quickly, and this is definitely comfort food. So what I did prior to us coming on live is I've got 1.5 pounds of boneless, skinless chicken thighs cut into about 2-inch pieces and 4 bunches of scallions. 4 bunches. It looks like a typo in the recipe, and trust me, it's not. So you want to chop all 4 bunches, separating out your white and green parts. We're going to use the green later. But what's in this pot is the chicken, the scallions, seasoned with a little salt and pepper. I used caramelized onion avocado oil. Use any vegetable oil that you have. Olive oil is fine. But just the white parts went in with the chicken, and what you want to happen, so it goes in and you want to stir it around a little bit, and then you want to leave it alone. You want what's happening in this pot to happen. You want that cooked on fond on the bottom of the pot to happen. Let me grab my hot hand. And you want to see this beautiful, beautiful browning of the chicken. You can see that's 4 bunches of scallions that have cooked down that much. And you want to see all this fond in here. So the next thing that goes in is 4 cloves of grated garlic. So I've got 3 in there already. So 4 cloves of grated garlic, our tomato paste, which is 2 tablespoons of tomato paste, and then our spices. So our spices are Garam Masala, turmeric, cardamom, and salt and pepper. Now I'm not going to add my salt, and I'm going to explain why in just a minute, because one of the ingredients we use, depending on the brand that you use, could bring a lot of saltiness. So let me get my tomato paste in here, and then we've got a tablespoon of Garam Masala. We're going to talk all about Garam Masala here in a minute. Tablespoon of Garam Masala. We've got a 1/2 teaspoon of cardamom. Let me check my cheat sheet. It's a teaspoon of cardamom, and this is a 1/2 teaspoon measure. A teaspoon of cardamom, and I'm going to double dip. Don't do this at home, but use my same measuring spoon. I need a teaspoon of turmeric. So that all goes in there, and I'm going to do a little bit of pepper, but I'm not going to season with salt until I taste it at the end, because I don't want to over salt it. You can add it, you can't take it away. A little bit of pepper. And then I'm going to stir that up and get all those spices heating through and activating, and I can see a lot of this fond coming up off the bottom of the pot. Pretty amazing. But you just want to do that until it smells fragrant, which it does, and then we go in with our liquid. So, I need lime zest and juice, so that's going in with our liquid. So what I have is a cup of stock. I've got the liquid from 2 cans of cannellini beans. You can use Great Northern or any other white bean. But I've drained the beans, and I have the liquid from the beans, and that's going in. Depending on the brand, it could be salty, and so that's why I like to pay attention to my salt up until it's time to season it at the end. The bean liquid has a ton of starch. It's going to give it body and viscosity. It is the most interesting, one of the most interesting stews I've ever eaten. It was a delight to test this with my husband and then also teach it in the class. It's a class that I've taught several times, but Reagan, who does digital media for us, was talking about it yesterday, and I had forgotten about it. And when I went back and refreshed my memory, it was like finding an old friend. I was like, oh man, this is one of those dishes that we know we're going to nail it, and it's going to be so good, and it's going to make everyone happy. Get all that bean liquid. I've got the zest of a lime, so I've already zested my lime. That's going in, and I need to juice this lime. So you need the juice of 1 lime. that goes in, and then you need some bubbles to happen in here. So it's thick and stew-like. You could certainly serve it with rice if you wanted to. I just do it with a little bit of naan on the side, but super, super delicious. I'm gonna get all of that going, and then we just need this to bubble for maybe 5 minutes. You know, I cooked my chicken all the way through in that first step, but if your chicken weren't cooked through, then you'll certainly be using this time to cook that chicken through. The bottom of my pot now seems smooth, so that means that my liquid has picked up all that fond. Super yummy. So I'm going to turn my heat down and let that do its thing, and we'll come back and we'll add in the beans and the green parts of the green onion. So I want to talk about a couple of things. Let me tote this with me. So yesterday I was a little scattered. I want to make sure you all caught this. So I've got 8 nights of Netflix mapped out for you. 8 nights. Do 1 episode a night, and you've got 8 nights carved out, because you know we're here for 30 more days at least. So 2 of my favorite food documentaries. I think this would be great discussion with middle schoolers and high schoolers. Cooked is 4 parts. The 4 parts are fire, water, air, earth. He takes each of those topics and talks about what goes on in our cuisines as it relates to those 4 components, elements and components. And then Samin Nosrat's Netflix. By the way, Cooked is from 2016. It's not as old as I thought it was. Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat was just in the last year. Again, that's 4 episodes, Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat, and what happens in our cuisine when we look at those components, and what happens in a dish when we nail all 4 of those components. So talking a little more clearly today, those are the 2 I was talking about. If you need something to do, to have some together screen time in the evening, that'll get you through 8 days. Okay, so now I want to talk about Garam Masala, because that was the spice blend that I used, and you'll see it a lot in Indian cuisine. So first of all, this recipe, Milk Street adapted it from Cooking in Iran. It is a cookbook that they reference often, and would be a great book to maybe digitally download if you have the time to look for that. So really, really fascinating book. But we're going to talk about Garam Masala. So Garam Masala is a spice blend that's used in Indian cuisine, and every Garam masala is different. Remember, it's a blend, and it is the creative expression of the blender. So none are exactly the same, and none is really right or wrong. It's all about what do you like, what makes your food taste good. So masala means mixture, and garam means hot or warming. So when we look at warming spices in Ayurvedic medicine, you'll see this term a lot. They believe that these are very, very helpful to health. So garam masala, however, is not necessarily hot. I know ours isn't, and we blend our own in the shop. So you might be saying, and really it is a big part of this dish and really brings a very specific flavor forward in this dish, but you might be thinking, I don't have it, and how am I going to get this spice blend? There is a very good possibility you can pull it together, you can cobble it together in your kitchen. So our garam masala, now watch these spices, because you're going to start to get the idea of what garam masala is. So we use coriander, cumin, clove, cinnamon, cardamom, we do use ground bay in ours, and then a little bit turmeric, of turmeric in ours for color. So there's a very good chance you have this in your cabinet, and you can pull together this blend or something that comes very close to garam masala. Even though it's a blend, I think of it as a pantry staple, because it is often used not on its lonesome as just the only spice blend in the dish. A lot of times a curry you'll get to the end of the recipe and they'll say season to taste with garam masala. You'll see it at a lot of times at the end of a cooking process, something to tweak the flavors, something to just ramp things up. What's interesting about this is it's got all of those four parts that we talked about yesterday in spice blending. They're all here to round this spice blend out. So that's what garam masala is. It's not complicated. It's not mysterious. It's something that is pretty easy to come by in grocery stores, but you may be able to pull it together. Okay, the other thing I wanted to mention is the 1.5 pounds of chicken thighs. So I picked up a package of chicken thighs that was more like 1.9 pounds because I knew when I trimmed them, and I don't always trim boneless, skinless chicken thighs, especially if it's a long cooking process where I'm gonna, like a pulled chicken in an Instant Pot, I don't trim them. That fat goes into that sauce and dissolves away. But for more of a quick cooking procedure like this one, I do trim it because I don't want that big piece of fat in my bite. And I wanted to show you all that from that 1.9 pounds of chicken thighs, I trimmed 0.5. I trimmed 5 ounces from it. So you need to have a package that's a little bit more because when you trim it, that's like at least a person's portion right there that I trimmed away. So aim for a little bit more than that exact 1.5 pounds that the recipe calls for. Okay, so now we go in with our green part of our green onions, and then our beans go in, and we just heat those through. Not a long cook at this point. We just want to get those heated through. And then I serve that in a shallow bowl with a little bit of naan. I like it to eat it with a spoon. Certainly some rice would be delicious, but I just eat it with a spoon and have a little bit of naan on the side. And it's just gorgeous color. And can you see, Reagan? Mm-hmm. Gorgeous color, hearty. Oh, fantastic with leftovers. I absolutely love this dish. So I'm gonna crank my heat up so I can get a few bubbles here so I can taste it and make sure my salt is where it should be. So we got a little bit of love today from Business Report. We were in the Daily Report, and then the Downtown Business Association wrote a blog about these Facebook Lives. Just when I thought, what am I doing? Why are we doing this? Folks have been calling and asking us why, what's up with these cooking demos. And the main thing is to keep us doing what we know, keep us doing what we love, rather than hitting pause and having to start up again from zero. We're going to keep the juices flowing, keep the content flowing onto the website, keep lots of social media posts. It also keeps my employees busy. And it's really, really important to me that I retain them at this time. This is a tough time for everyone, and I want to make sure that my crew is able to keep working. So it's keeping them busy, and I get texts almost every day, what you ought to cook is this and what you ought to cook is that. So I love that they're engaged and happy. I've got some bubbles here, so I want to taste this and see how I did. I feel like the salt is pretty solid in this dish, but you can always add, and if this is too thick for you, you can certainly thin it with some stock if you want to, but I just love the consistency. Let's see how I did. It's actually perfect. So again, depending on the brand of beans that you use, you want to wait to the end to adjust that salt. And what I want in this, which is crazy for me, is a little bit of heat, maybe some chili flakes on top, but wow, that's just a flavor explosion. Really, really good. Okay, let me serve this up. And put a little bit of naan with this. And there we go. So that is a lime braised, Iranian chicken and bean braised. We've come up with all sorts of names for this, but it is already up on the website. and I hope it's something that you try. We want pictures of it when you do. We want to find out what you think of it, and especially if you're blending your own garam masala, I want to hear about that. So thank you guys. We will be back soon with another video. Thanks. Have a great evening. Bye. Love you all. Bye.